I need to feel your energy today from start to finish.
Come on, let's go.
Let's crank this thing up. It get real ferocious, I'm trying to tell you.
Turn me up all day.
From the locker room to the broadcast booth, breaking news and the truth behind every take from a real NFL insider and television analyst.
Now get ready for the NFL show where the conversation gets real and the fans get a voice. It's time for the Lake Lewis Jr. Show here on ESPN Radio.
And that's football.
Welcome, everyone, to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. Appreciate you joining us. We got a jam-packed show for you today. We're going to talk about the Washington Commanders and Baltimore Ravens joint practice from yesterday, and I was there, and all the gloom and doom talk about what, if you are a Commanders fan, we saw as media. Is it true? Is it not? Well, I'm going to let you know in just a few minutes, what the verdict of that was, what the outcome, the truthful outcome was. And, we're going to talk about where do they go next? Where does the football team, the Washington Commanders, go next? Also, a little bit later on, when we switch gears and just talk NFL as a whole, we're going to talk about a guy that got broke off today. Another person gets a lot of money, a whole lot of money. So we're going to talk about what's going on. There's some additions to some other teams around the NFL as we approach cut down day, and that's on Sunday. A day that, if you're a younger player, man, you trying to turn your phone off. They tell you to keep it turned on, because that's a day that you don't want. If you're on the bubble, if you're on the fringe, you hope that, you're not called to someone's office, because if you get called to the office, then you already know what that is. It's curtains, at least for that specific team, that run for that team. So we'll talk about all this stuff today. If you want to chime in with me, all you have to do is reach out. All you have to do is call us at 804-327-0888. Once again, 804-327-0888. Let's bring him on. The man of the hour, the super producer, Alan Sanders. What's going on, Alan?
Nothing much, man. How you doing, Lake?
I'm good. So let me ask you, when you were looking at all the reports that were coming out of Owens Mills yesterday, were you thinking to yourself, damn, man, Lake's going to have something bad to bring back to the table when he gets back in the studio? Were you thinking that?
No, honestly, I was thinking, duh. I didn't expect him to look
That's
good, man.
terrible.
No, just being honest, man. Like, we're so close to the cutoff line, man, and
Right.
all the injuries they've had and stuff, and the guys
Right.
that were not going to participate.
Right.
Like, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
The Commanders don't have a lot of depth. So if you're not playing the majority of your starters, it's not going to look good. That's just how it is. Like, we're not going to forget that this team is only a couple years removed from being a top 3 pick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so even last year they were a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
So there's talent missing from the team, and they're going to be top heavy. And so, like I said, when I saw who was not going to participate and everything, I assumed. We talked about how the Ravens come at these practices, how they approach preseason. Yeah. And the Ravens have a better roster than the Commanders. That's not breaking news. And that roster has a little bit more depth than the Commanders. So the backups for the Ravens, even down to the third string, are going to look better than the backups and third string of the Commanders. That, to me, is not breaking news. So I honestly, it was what I expected. If it was more positive, that would have been the surprise for me. I'll be honest with you.
I truly appreciate that honest assessment. I really do, because I've had so many people texting me, calling me, like, was it that bad? Did it look that bad? And see, Alan, I think you and I, we see things differently from a lot of the fans. I mean, we're media. It's different for us. We have to dissect things in a different light. You can still be honest, like Alan just was, and tell you that it was bad. But I'm telling you, from standing on that field yesterday, it was bad, but yet there was some silver linings out there. And you know me, I'm always going to be that guy to give you the positive spin too. Antonio Williams is something.
Everything I saw of Antonio Williams just continues to validate. I think he's going to be the real deal. And he's got a skill set that makes him good anywhere they want to put him on the field when it comes to wide receiver. Let's not be like, oh, he's a slot guy. No, he's not a slot merchant. This guy can run routes, and he can do a lot of things. And he's playing with the kind of like poise that you would see somebody who's been here before, who's been in the league for a
he's
couple
like an
years.
old soul.
There was a one-on-one he had, which is something that I think a lot of people overlook. But he was in a one-on-one. There was an over-the-shoulder throw, kind of like a fade, and to the back of the end zone. But he put his hands up late. And that threw the defender off.
The defender didn't know when to look
he
to
didn't know.
knock something
He
down
didn't know
or
when to
anything.
react. And I mean, it was like instantaneous. It was like, oh dang, he caught it.
Yeah, that's an art.
Yeah, and that's something that you see guys do in like year 4, 5, 6. And he's picking that up or showing you those intangibles. Just the football IQ. I think that's what we would call that. That's a high IQ play by a wide receiver that goes
And he caught
overlooked.
the ball with what now, Alan?
2 hands.
Exactly.
He goes
caught it with
overlooked.
his hands, not his body, his hands.
Goes overlooked at this level. So I think as long as he continues to shine, there'll at least be some silver lining on the offensive side anytime they report that.
And see, that's the kind of stuff right there, folks, that I just want people to understand that you can't overestimate when you see a young guy making plays like that. And I know people were like, "Oh man, he beat Kyle Hamilton." When are you ever going to see Kyle Hamilton covering a receiver on an out?
It's the same as like people say to me, Caleb down stuff. Caleb ain't lining up on CD and these guys. We have a problem.
He's going to get cooked.
Yeah,
right.
We have a problem. If your safety is checking the wide receiver 1 or 2, we have a problem.
And that's what, everyone, I kept trying to tell people, listen, put things in perspective, because after that one play, who the best player on the field was?
Who?
Kyle Hamilton.
I
mean, he was absolutely.
He's really good, man.
When I tell you he's really good, Alan. He did some stuff yesterday that he was covering Chig Okonkwo I guess for Chig it was just to release off the line and go to the hash mark, basically run to the sidelines. Okay, to make this in layman terms. And Kyle Hamilton's covering him. Jaden's throwing the ball to a crossing route, which was going to happen after Chig cleared Kyle Hamilton.
He came off the route.
Kyle Hamilton, while covering Chig, I have no idea to this very day. I've been thinking about this play all night.
He's smart, bro.
He turned in midair because he jumped. And I'm like, he didn't even see the ball thrown. He literally contorted his body and turned, and backhand almost intercepted it. And he dropped it. But it was just the fact that he could even see the play to make the play. It was unbelievable. And then he had an interception in the end zone on Jaden. I mean, it was just one of those things where you said to yourself, when you see the best at his position.
Yeah. I mean, Kyle's the guy that if you tested him, I guarantee you it's not what you want to do. It's not what you want to do.
You will absolutely
You got to be afraid of those guys that have those instincts like that, man, because just you explaining it, I can see it happening too.
Man, it was incredible.
Him coming off a route or him just making the play on the ball, doesn't surprise me at all. That's who he was in Notre Dame. Like, he is a ball hawk. The ball's in the vicinity. He will be in the vicinity somewhere. That's his intangible. That's what makes him so great.
He's an absolute dog. And so you look at the individual matchups that took place, and you look at, the one-on-ones. And I can say this, Washington's receivers did fairly well in the one-on-ones. And now you and I both know those one-on-one drills are kind of set up for the receivers to do well.
They're highlight tape for sure for Instagram.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's tough to cover a guy for 3 seconds, 4 seconds to develop something, when in reality, the cold reality was when they went up against the full lineups, Jay Daniels didn't even have 2 seconds to get rid of the football. It was that bad. So these one-on-ones, you giving Jayden 4 seconds to watch a guy 5 seconds. Of course, he's never going to miss him.
He's a professional quarterback.
That's what he's never going to miss him. But when you get a dog in your face breathing on you, and Ravens, as you know, Alan, they are extremely large.
They have quite the knack for generating pressure this year. It's not going to be the Ravens defense of last year. So
right.
I hope people are ready. And it's not. They don't have to show aggressive looks. They can, because they got Kyle Hamilton and a couple other guys who can fly around. But I think the fear, if we're being honest, about a Baltimore Ravens defense is if they can get that pressure on you with 4 or 5 guys. They don't have to bring the extra man.
And they won't. And it's funny you say that, because there was a period where on the field where you see how big Roquan Smith is. Like
He moves, man.
and he would have blown up some receivers had it been live contact like that. And people are like, "What do you mean it was live contact?" No, 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 no. You're not running through guys. And there were a couple times people got a little testy because the hit was a little extra, but you're not tackling really
And
in those things.
Blake, I'll be honest with you. I went up to the Ravens practice week 1, I think, and I saw how they were moving and flying around. They were ready to fight each other that week. I can only imagine the Commanders being so close in proximity, and again, the competitive nature of football. Like I said, it was no chance that there was going to be a positive report coming out of that camp with guys sitting, and you need all hands on deck even to practice with the Ravens. Like, that's just who they are as an organization. That's where they are right now in the football spectrum. They're just a better team.
And I'm so glad you said that because, again, on my way back home, I jumped on my friend Rio Robinson's show. Shout out to Rio, Rambling with Rio, great content creator. So check out his stuff. I was on with them for like 2 hours. I had nothing but time in that car driving from Wings Mills back to Richmond. And, just so many things that came up, that we talked about and things that I saw. And after you get home and you have a chance to decompress, you start having visions and flashbacks of things that you saw. Baltimore was clearly the more physical football team.
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt about that. But the thing that struck me was Durante Jones' defense this year, Alan, I think is going to keep Washington afloat early in the season. He's gonna have to have it that way because this offense looked yesterday in that joint session, it looked eerily close to Cliff Kingsbury's offense. Everything was to the sidelines and it was quick or it was nothing. There was no like Jaden drop back, survey the field, go to his second read. He could barely look at his first read with them breathing on him. So when you ask, was it bad? Hell yeah, it was bad. It was bad under the circumstances. But if you don't have your starting left tackle, Laramie Tunsil's out, that wasn't bad because of Brandon Coleman, because I thought Brandon Coleman did particularly well. I think Josh Connolly showed signs. He looked good at times, and then there was sometimes he missed some blocks, but it wasn't because of the tackles. It's clearly because of the interior portion of their offense. It's the center. Now, in reference, when I said there were some silver linings, I thought Matt Goldman actually did pretty decent under the circumstances. He had a botch snap that went over Jaden's head. He got pushed around a little bit but Baltimore has two tackles that are 6'4", 6'5", 300 plus.
Pretty massive guys.
Yeah. I mean, and he's a rookie, so welcome to the NFL. That's what that is. But he settled down after a while, and he started to look like an actual NFL caliber center, and that's what they want from him. Do you want this kid to retrot it out there against Philadelphia week 1? Absolutely not. That would be curtains. But I think he's proving that he could right now maybe slide into the backup role. I think he's going to move Julian Good-Jones back to where Julian Good-Jones.
Julian, I'm sorry.
And I said yesterday, Julian Bad Jones, because but I shouldn't be saying stuff like that. That's not cool.
Julian's not playing well at all. And honestly, if Julian doesn't find another position, he might need to.
Yeah.
Maybe this is his limit. Yeah. He made it further than I would ever make in the NFL, but I can tell he's
a guard. Yeah, he's a guard.
He's definitely
stop the whole experiment at center.
Yeah, he's not a center.
He's a guard. So if you put him at guard and then you just have Matt, and hopefully Allegretti can be there by week 1. But see, that's the other topic that I wanted to talk to you about, because by the time I got home yesterday, a comment that I had made on Rio's show was making the rounds, as always. And, next thing I know, it's per NFL insider Lake Lewis, Washington had a handshake agreement, a gentleman's agreement with Tyler Lindenbaum, So I said this on Rio's show. Alan, you're a very astute, educated man, VCU alum. I'm a very astute, gentleman. Both Penn State and Georgetown guy, So do you think there would be any reason for Adam Peters and the Washington Commanders to release Tyler Biadasz if they did not have some kind of assurance that one of the free agents they were going to go after was coming there?
It's when you put 2 and 2 together, it does not fit the mold of somebody that has a plan. And for what it's worth, the Commanders have planned and executed accordingly. I thought that was pretty common knowledge with the amount of money they had in their cap space that they would go for a big free agent, a big name free agent.
There you go.
And then, obviously letting Biotish go signaled that it was probably going to be Linderbaum. But I will put the butt in there. The amount of money the Raiders gave that man,
he had to take it.
He has to take it, and Washington cannot match that.
That's it. And that's exactly verbatim what I said on the show. And it's like I'm trying to break a story. No, man, I'm telling you guys straight up, there was something there for Washington to get one of the top one, if not him, the second top free agent. But when teams throw money at guys and you don't want to match that, like I applaud Adam Peters for not setting the bar for centers.
It was a significant increase in what his market value was projected to be.
The Raiders overpaid for him.
Yeah, it was a lot, man. I wish him the best because I like Linderbaum. I'm all about
no. He's absolute dog. Good for him. He got broke off, and I'm never going to hate on a man making his money. But if Adam Peters had, let's just be upfront here, because some of these fans sometimes get a little fickle. If Adam Peters had matched or exceeded what the Raiders threw out there, they'd be ready to run him out of town for overpaying. Don't you think so?
Yeah. No, I mean, I would have questioned it. I mean, 2027, he's going to be 10.5% of their salary cap.
That's a center.
And I've explained this to people on Fence the Bill and across our morning show from time to time. Percentage of most quarterbacks isn't reaching 10%, even though we talk about how much they get paid. 10% on a quarterback, they're looking to restructure most of the time.
Yeah.
Like this is 10% on a center.
On the center. And I'm not trying to devalue the center position because clearly Washington's in a
$34 million cap hit next year, man.
Right. So that's where I'm going here with some of the fans. Like, come on now, think about this rationally. Now, in fairness to the fans who are all up in an uproar, or as my baby says all the time, the panties in a bunch. Listen. Should there have been a backup plan that was a backup and then another backup and then another backup? Because you basically would put all your hopes in Nick Allegretti, who's only had 2 career starts at center in the NFL. I know he did it in college at Illinois, but that's not the same. So you put a lot of hope in this guy. Now he's hurt and, trying to come back from that calf sprain. He tried to come back and then, re-aggravated it. And now I'm sure they're going to play it close to the vest and give him all the time he needs until they can go up to Philadelphia in 2 weeks. But that's a gamble right there. Do you think?
Yeah, I think this whole thing is a gamble. The longer you wait, I would say it's a gamble on a deeper level for Jaden Daniels' development. He's not quite where he's supposed to be,
right?
And you're putting him in an uncomfortable position to be more under center, and you're talking about interior offensive linemen not protecting him. That's not going to make him comfortable in the system. So if you were trying to do this under center stuff, you're going about it the wrong way. And so I'm getting to the point where I'm also too kind of looking for something to be made, something to happen sooner rather than later. Because what I'm afraid of is that you know how we talk about guys seeing ghosts, like that is a true thing. Like people.
He was doing it last year.
Yeah, people are under so much pressure, or in some cases get hit so many times that it messes up their clock. And for him, it's going to be of the utmost important with the weapons that he has that he stays on rhythm. Yeah. And it's for his safety too, because God forbid if he starts letting the ball go too early and then he overcompensates and tries to hold the ball too long. I mean, it's going to be a problem. So I know you can't fix anything overnight. He obviously didn't expect Allegretti to have the issues that he had him, but I'm seeing that there's no timetable on his return. He has a calf injury. Let's just go ahead and do the right thing.
It's a center,
with a calf. Find somebody within the next 48 hours, because I said, the joint practice was going to be kind of the litmus test. Sounds like they went for their backup guys to see who could do what. It still doesn't sound good. Let's just find a free agent, man. There's an old guy out there somewhere that's got experience and that can at least give you some security and stability until Allegretti comes back.
That's a very astute point. And, the other thing we want to mention, before we go to break here is that Big Sam Cosme didn't participate yesterday. He was sick. So that's another starter that was out. So you had your starting center, your starting right guard, your starting left tackle was out. Now, I guess you can't really say that anymore about the left tackle because it's Brandon's job, and Brandon did okay yesterday. So, but you did have two guys in your interior portion of the line. And where was all that pressure coming from in Baltimore? The interior portion of the line.
I'm not a quarterback, but I don't want to see the big guys at my feet. I think that that bothers a lot of people.
Bro.
Obviously, you want to protect your ball inside. You don't want people coming off the edge free. But think about it. If you're under center, you're under center.
You see
and you
those
take the snap. Yeah,
right
you take
there?
the snap, and your guard and center are backpedaling with you. They're doing 5-step drops.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not good.
They're being dropped 5 steps.
It's not good. So
Yeah, so that's what we saw yesterday. So the narrative of it was horrible, disgusting, and bad. It was under circumstances, and those circumstances aren't the real circumstances for this football team. So again, you have to take it. What do they say? With a grain of salt, you know.
yeah.
You can't just be ready to throw the hat in already. I mean, fans are like finding the nearest bridges, man, and they're jumping. I'm like, come on, man. It's they haven't played their first game. Now, if they go out against Philadelphia and they get tossed around, which is highly likely it could happen.
If nothing changes, what my boy James Franklin said, nothing's gonna change if nothing changes, or whatever he said.
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. That's a great point. Yeah, you know, like him winning big games at Penn State, you know, nothing was changing.
Nothing's gonna change if it don't change. I gotta look that
you
quote
know,
up.
You know,
but
I had to do that. You know, I had to get
that's
that.
perfectly fine.
That
Season starts very, very soon.
Yeah, you know I had to get that in there. But yeah, that's what we were looking at yesterday. So to you, the fans out there, yes, it was rough. It was a rough watch. It really was. It was a rough watch. You couldn't see much of the offense. You know, when it was 11 on 11, 7 on 7, you couldn't see much. Then when, you know, with the linemen in there, it was hard. So I'm just going to wait and see what they do with this final roster, because the 53-man roster final cut downs happen on Sunday. So you're going to know who your 2026 Washington Commanders are. And if you're a Ravens fan, because remember, you can listen to Ravens football right here on ESPN Radio here in Richmond. And remember, those two teams clash tomorrow in Baltimore. I'll be there for that again.
Starts at 5:30 on there.
Right. So you'll be able to hear all that. You like how I set that up. That was a decent plug, you know. So you'll hear Allen and company doing their things too. Don't you guys have like a pregame or?
No, they do their own pregame. I just push the button to start the game.
Okay. All right. Well, it's going to be some good stuff on there. So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, you know, I do want to ask the one question is, you know, we talked about the panic level, the you know, where you were with your anxiety, so to speak, with this football team. But I do want to ask when we come back, and you guys can think about it while we're doing break. Is it too early to say that this season is over before it's even started? So I'll let that marinate on you while we take a break. You're listening to Lake Lewis Jr. Show right here on ESPN Radio and HD Radio. Everyone, welcome back. It's 3:27 p.m. East Coast time. I know we got a lot of listeners listening to this out on the West Coast as well. So shout out to them. If you're at work, don't get in trouble because of me. Don't listen to the show and get in trouble. You know, I always tell people that because out there it's super early. And you could get in trouble here too because it's at 3:27. You still got like an hour or two before you get off work. So don't let Alan and me do it to you.
Yeah, no, I mean I don't even get off work. I get off and go straight to Hopewell. So
exactly,
I gotta get in game mode, man. Looking forward to some football tonight.
Thursday night football, nothing like it. If you are a high school football fan.
I prefer high school football on Thursday night over some of our NFL games.
Well, even some of the college games. I mean, it's like, you know,
you got to text her. Got to play the games. No one saw 2024 coming from preseason either.
Mm-hmm.
And not a single soul predicted an NFC championship run in 2024. And
hold on.
And he put,
hold on, because I predicted 12 wins though.
He put the Herm Edwards, you played to win the game.
I mean, listen, you can't make a fair assessment of a team that trotted out backups to go up against a team that I'm saying it, and I'm going to say it again until proven otherwise, and I've been proving that for the last 4 or 5 years, but I've always had the Ravens as a Super Bowl contender.
I mean, everybody does every year, basically.
There's nothing to make me think, because Jesse Minter, new coach, is there. That organization knows how to win. They know what they want to accomplish. They know the type of person they bring in. Baltimore Ravens are going to be a really good football team this year, and I have them as my sleeper team to get to the Super Bowl. I'm saying it because I'm a big Lamar guy. Washington's defense did some things yesterday that frustrated Lamar at times. He threw the pick in the back of the end zone. Mikey Sanders still got one. So those are the things that happen. So no one's talking about that. It's talking about clearly about how bad the offensive line and the interior portion of the line looked. But there were some other things, and I did mention that on my stand-up from Owings Mills yesterday, that the defense did, do some things. So it wasn't all gloom and doom. But I want to know from you, the fans out there, and I appreciate that the email that just came in, text that just came in from the fan. Listen, are you ready to call this season off before it even started? I mean, I know as reporters, we're telling you the truth of what we're seeing all the time, but I can recall telling you that this was the best I've ever seen Jaden look, under center. He looks really good. Obviously, that was going up against his own guys where you can't hit them. You can't really do much. And then there were times where the defense got the better of the offensive line, and there were times the offensive line got the better of the defensive line. I'm talking about in Washington's practices with each other, not in the joint practice. You go back to the first joint practice, they clearly dominated the Miami Dolphins. Well, yesterday, it looked like it was flipped. They got dominated. So where do you take this team? It's hard to assess. So like I'm saying again, what is your level right now? Like Allen was at a 15 last week. You must be at like a 50 right now. You must be piping hot.
Man, I will say, because I'm not fan invested. I'm trying to be more objective. If I put myself, let's say I'm a fan of the Niners. I put myself in a position where the Niners look like this, I would still be on like 20 or 30, but I wouldn't throw the season away. It's a long season. But I would need to see something done before we line up against the Eagles. If I'm a Commanders fan, I need to see you signing somebody that can come in and help this offense, help this interior offensive line, and stabilize Jaden Daniels, because again, you're gonna develop some really bad habits, and we're gonna end up having him getting hit when he shouldn't be getting hit as much. And you're trying to put him under center with poor offensive line play. It's like suicide. Like, you're setting him up to fail.
You're setting him up for
You're
failure.
literally
You're
setting him up
to get hurt.
I'd rather see him back in the Cliff Kingsbury offense if he ain't got no offensive line. At least he's got some time.
So this is the thing. There's still some free agent centers that are still available.
Oh, yeah, no, there's a couple guys out there that could be quick fixes. Not somebody you want to build a franchise around, but they can stabilize you until Allegretti gets back.
I mean, Ryan Bates is 29 years old. He was previously last year with Chicago, has some starting. He was a starter at center. He has some experience. And so they went and got their own guys. Ben Johnson, remember last year he went on that spending spree for that offensive line. Ryan Bates, he just happened to go to Penn State. Let me just throw that out the way. So I don't want people thinking there's a correlation there. I'm just saying he's 29. He's got some starting experience. He's available. The reason why I'm saying him is because Chicago, Ben Johnson, David Blau. Do you see where I'm going with that, right? So he's a guy like I've been telling people this. If a guy has a 10 grade as a center, you can go get him. Doesn't mean he's going to come in and pick the playbook up by Philadelphia in 2 weeks. Well, Ryan Bates should know the play calls, should know the checkdowns, should know the line assignments, because he's coming from the tree that David Blau was in. So that's a guy I think you take a look at. Graham Glasgow, same thing. He actually played with David Blau in Detroit. Mm-hmm. So clearly he's going to know the line assignments. But Alan, one thing you and I both know, they're out there for a reason.
Yeah. And sometimes they're out there just because they don't fit a system, or they aged out, or they're just not as productive. Center is not a position where you keep a lot of guys on, right? Like usually if your center goes down, you convert somebody to center, right? We don't run around on a 53-man roster with backup centers like we got quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, corners, and all these other positions. So essentially, it's like kickers and punters. There's limited space. Just because you're not on a team doesn't mean you're not good enough. You're just not better than the guy that's in front of you, right? In this case, I promise you, all those names are better than your options right now. I promise you.
That's all I'm saying, man. Like, we don't have to, like, create a science project here. Let's get one of these guys in here to shore some things up. Clearly, they have experience that Matt Golban doesn't have at this moment. And I think Matt's going to be a really good football player, but you're throwing him to the fire. And again, everyone's not cut out from the same cloth where they can just come in the NFL and hit the ground running. When you see the first 3 games for the Washington Commanders this year are at Philadelphia with that just murderous row defensive that their line they're going to go up against, and defense in general. Then you have the Dallas Cowboys, Quentin Williams, Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary. That should be formidable. They should, Christian Parker's their new D coordinator. They should be better. And then week 3, Seattle with what they're bringing up in there. And speaking of Seattle, Leonard Williams broke off $90 million extension.
Yeah,
Are you surprised by that?
I'm not surprised by that. Although I did chuckle a little bit because I'm like, all right, he's 32. My man, Aaron Donald coming back, and I saw there was a report the holdup was money. Yeah, I bet, because guys are getting paid a lot now.
And Aaron Donald's going to clearly say, "Hey, man, good for Leonard, great guy. I'm Aaron Donald."
I don't know what a 1 year would cost for Aaron Donald, but man, I mean,
it's going to have to be 30s.
The price of the brick is going up a lot for.
It's got to be in the. It's got to be in the 30s, man.
I support it though, because I feel like our linemen on both sides of the ball are underpaid, right? Especially the guys on the interior. So it's good for him. Good for Seattle, man. Keep this defense. When you have a great defense, you have about a 2-3 year window before
that got him to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, before everybody kind of falls off. Like regression on the defense is inevitable. Through the wear and tear, physicality of defenses, it's just going to happen. So keep those guys, all of them, lock them up as early as you can, structure it so you can get out once they age out or once they start to see production decline within probably the next 2 years. And in Seattle's case, absolutely, without a doubt, run it all back. Run it all. Kenneth Walker, he overpriced himself. That's fine. He deserves to get paid. We're good. Thank you for your services. We got Charbonnet. It was a 2-back system anyway. We'll go get Price and slot him in. We kept our core. We kept our quarterback. We kept our wide receivers. We kept our defense. We kept everybody but Kubiak. Inevitable. Let's run it back. Listen,
man, when you strike gold, and Leonard Williams was in New York, he was with the Giants. He's been a guy that remember when he came out of USC, he was supposed to be that guy.
Yeah.
And it took some time because he went to some bad teams. Let's just be upfront about that. When you go to bad teams, sometimes I don't care how good you are, it may not work for you because you're surrounded by trash. Okay. All right. He went to some bad teams, but Seattle is his fit. And you saw how disruptive and dominant he's been since he got there. So why not break him off? Why not pay? And it's not like the organization's hurting for money when they just sold for a record. What was it, like $11 billion or something like that?
Yeah. No, they're not. I don't think they're hurting for money. But also, it's just good to lock guys up sooner rather than later. Because think about the people who've been Carter raised the bar. Mm-hmm. You're gonna imagine Jordan Davis is gonna raise the bar. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure Chris Jones is gonna want an extension at some point. We'll see what happens with that. Dexter Lawrence, I'm pretty sure, raised the bar as well. Get these guys.
And where's Dexter Lawrence?
He's in Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So raise the bar, man. And I cringe when I said Cincinnati because I don't think it's gonna help him.
It doesn't even sound right for him to. I mean, I look at him as a giant, Sexy Dexy. That's a giant, and now he's in Cincinnati. He better get his money soon because when reality kicks in, that defense. I know they put some oomph into some of the picks and stuff and free agents they brought in on that defense. I'm still not sold on that, though.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit. So you don't have a problem with D linemen getting broke off like this.
I don't have a problem with D linemen getting broke off like this when you have it structured like they have it. Like the Seahawks team, like their core is young. And when you have young guys, you typically have workable contracts, right? It's that 4th, 5th year area where you got to pay people. Most of these guys are rookie deals or deals where people probably
who's next.
Yeah, they didn't expect them to be as good as they are. So you're getting so much value out of it. You have a window. We talk about that all the time in the sense of quarterbacks, right? Like Jaden Daniels, for example. You got a window X amount of years before you got to pay him. It works on the defensive side too. It works everywhere at every position. You get these guys, and they're producing at an early age. There's value in that. Go out, pay the older guy to keep him on for stability. And like I said, structure it. 2 years. I bet you if we looked at it, they probably have an out within 3 years.
Well,
he's 32.
Well, I'll say this too. When you win a Super Bowl, you can ask for money. Like you can say, you know what, I did this because you know who's next for Seattle. It's it's a no-brainer. You already took care of JSN. You already now took care of Leonard Williams. You're gonna have to take care of Witherspoon now.
Yeah, and Witherspoon is
you gonna have to, and he's a corner. You're gonna have to break him off.
That's a position a lot of times where we do see guys have to get paid somewhere else.
Yeah,
that's the nature of the beast. I like Witherspoon. I don't know if Witherspoon.
I don't think McDonald's. I don't think he's dumb. He knows.
Yeah, like I
got to keep them intact.
I go back to corners. I mean, even Champ had to go get his money somewhere else, right? Champ had to go somewhere else. Dion had to go somewhere else.
Well, he got traded though.
Yeah, but essentially,
he was
treated
money.
because he was going to have to get paid. Yeah, they just got ahead of it, right? That's all it was. I think Darrell Reeves had to go somewhere and get his money at one point too.
Go to
or at least go and get a ring.
But, he wasn't getting that in New York. Yeah, that's for sure.
So yeah, it's inevitable. Sauce had to go somewhere else to get his money, man. Like again, I
don't like that though, man. I know
they're trading him not because they think he's declined. They're trading him because when are you going to get the most value out of a corner? When they're at their best, when they're the shutdown label, that's when you're going to get your value.
So do you think you get more value out of a 32-year-old lineman than you would a 26-year-old shut down, lockdown number one corner?
I think you can justify it. Yeah, you can justify paying that lineman over paying the corner.
We need to get Jack on for this.
Well, you know why? You know why I say that though? Because everything starts at the line. So if you can get to the quarterback, or if you can stop the run,
it makes marginal corners look better.
You can hide a bad corner. You cannot hide a bad offensive lineman or defensive lineman. You can hide.
And why do you think Washington's secondaries look so putrid over the past several years? Because there was no pass rush.
And I guarantee you, Quan, you know,
look,
he looks great, right?
Because he's got some pieces in front of him.
Guys in front of him that can get pressure, and he's playing aggressive, and it's complimentary, right?
Yes,
so I would always go to the line first. Not that I want to pay him too much, but if it's paying this top corner or paying a guy that I might get 2 more years of production out of on the defensive line, overpayment on D line is not the same as overpayment at cornerback. Just like overpayment at wide receivers, not the same as overpayment at quarterback. There's levels to it. That's the nature of the beast.
There's also the Alan Sandage, dynamic to this too. You hate prima donnas.
I do, but I love a good corner, man. I look at it this way. You got a guy on the field that you can trust is going to shut down a section of the field. If you're a defensive coordinator, that makes your game plan so much easier. So if the field is broken down into thirds, we only got to worry about 2/3 because this guy's got this third over here. And think about that. It's all about space at the modern level of the NFL. When we talk about shutdown corners, they're shutting down space. They're shutting down areas. That gives you so much more flexibility on what you can do. How aggressive were the Jaguars when Jalen Ramsey was at his peak and he had a complimentary piece over on the other side? You had 2 guys that was locking down the field. You could do whatever you could send.
I think
6-7 people. It doesn't matter. They're going to cover 2 guys by themselves because you're already afraid to throw the ball. You don't even want to look at their area.
Period. And you know what? You might be hitting on to another layer to maybe why Witherspoon hasn't been broken off yet, because there's no Reek Woolen this year.
Yeah.
So he might get tested, you know.
It happened to Diggs. When Diggs lost his complimentary corner, people started
like, you know what?
Lost the complimentary corner, and we started getting a little bit more blocking. We rolled our protection a little bit, and it was like double move, and then you find out, well, he's just a really aggressive corner.
Yeah.
That doesn't always work when you don't get that pressure.
And they lost a safety too, if I'm not mistaken. So again, it's going to be interesting. Maybe Seattle's in the mode of, we got Leonard taken care of. We got Jackson Smith and Jigba, taken care of. We got Sam Darnold taken care of. we know
Darnold helps them a lot though, because he's not commanding a ton of the cap space.
He's happy, man.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what, man? You know, I've been everywhere. I'm winning. I've got a Super
I don't blame
Bowl
him,
now.
man. Milk that house money, Sam Darnold.
Well, you listen, man. Don't think Sam Darnold's not getting paid other ways.
But
you know?
Sam Darnold has been, if not statistically, at least production wise, one of the best quarterbacks in the last 2 years that he's been playing well. So
top 3 if you look at just the
so
numbers.
for people who would be like, well, it was a fluke. Well, he kind of followed up the fluke year with the Super Bowl win.
I don't buy that stuff's a fluke stuff.
It can't be a fluke if you follow up your best year with a career
Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and you're right. I mean, Sam Darnold's, don't get me started because we can go back to that list where he wasn't on there.
Yeah,
That top
Geno
10.
is fluke. Darnold is not fluke. I'm sorry.
Why you always take a shot at Geno, man?
They both had the same ascension out of nowhere, essentially.
They
got
did.
into systems where people were.
But you were not a Geno Smith fan.
No, I'm not a Geno Smith fan. But I mean, at least he was working in Seattle for a while there, and
I think he's going to do okay back in his second
the floor is
second
the
go-round.
floor is the ceiling in New York. He's got to do well. Come on, man. He's followed up Aaron Rodgers, Zach Wilson,
man.
Justin Fields. Like, yeah, in comparison to what they've had, I would hope he would look better.
So for everybody listening right now, if you ever wanted to know like how Alan and me roll, and I'm always trying to be the optimistic person here, ever the let's keep things on the light side. I think it's going to be okay. Alan is like, no, he's the Grim Reaper coming. He's like, until you show me otherwise, your death waiting to happen. I mean, and I'm okay, like that's what makes this show great. I get it. But some people are like, man, like, is he happy? And I'm like, yeah, he's always laughing and joking.
I'm cool, man.
But you're just, you need to be. You're from Missouri. That's what I say. You're not from Missouri.
I operate in the gambling space too, and we can't lie to ourselves out there because it costs you literally. So you got to be honest.
So let me ask you this before we go to break. Let me ask you this: is Washington? Remember how we talked about they could be 10 wins?
Yeah, man.
Are they a 10-win team right
Listen, I am concerned about that because
I
was so offended for the Commanders when their win total was down near the Giants. And I was like,
it was 7.5.
Yeah,
and you know what?
Crazy disrespectful.
But those, and I always say this. I don't know how. I don't know if we're living in a different dimension or whatever. But those gambling sites,
they just know.
They just know. They could pick they could pick your high school game tonight, and it's going to be right there where the score is.
Yeah.
Where the spread is.
There's no amount of data that would have convinced me that they were accurate with that. I really thought they were tripping.
There was no way they were 7.5 win football.
But maybe
that's what I thought.
Maybe they just banked on somebody getting hurt because they don't have a lot of depth. There is an angle to betting that if we're talking about a season long thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got the new coordinators. You can probably expect some regression there, just for them to get acclimated. They start the season off really, really tough. So you're almost set in for at least 3 to 4 losses starting out the season out of the 5 games, right? That's what they're anticipating.
First quarter of your season, we talked about how if they could go 2-2, having played the Eagles, Cowboys, week 3 Seattle, then we go to London, play the Colts, which are playoff caliber football team. We said if they can come out of that playing 500 football, they're going to have a decent year. Do they get 1 out of that?
Yeah, and then you look at the second half of the season, and you got some swing games in there. Can they win those swing games? Right? We don't know.
That Cincinnati game now is kind of like now. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like I don't. Now the schedule looks like the schedule. How
and
about
you're going to
that?
be playing teams down the stretch that even if we don't think they're good, they're in playoff contention. Like Falcons will be competing for their division or wild card spot.
Texans,
the Jags will be competing.
Oh my
Dude,
God.
the Texans, man, did you see or hear about, you thought y'all had a bad practice?
Yes.
The Panthers had to practice against the Texans.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen what was said after that, go listen to Bryce Young. You sounded so pitiful.
Yeah. So again, this is what I'm saying. These joint practices could expose some things, and that's what I said yesterday, expose Washington's line in the interior. But it also you have to take it for what it is. And again, I say this. Coach Quinn and Coach Mentor, they got together and they planned out how they're going to do it, how it's going to be ran. And just so you know, as fans, the visiting team to the joint sessions normally goes with how things have been ran organizationally by the home team. So Washington was doing what Baltimore does. That's why the practice was at 10:30 and not at 8:30, which the Dolphins had against Washington 2 weeks ago in Washington. Okay.
That's crazy, man. It's hot as I don't know what.
Bro, it was
Yeah.
cooking.
Yeah.
When I tell you cooking, the devil came up to me and
That's
said,
like,
do you want your burger well done or medium?
they said, we're going to put y'all on that high noon.
We were cooking. So it was a beautiful day, though. It was nice, not too much humidity. The sun was just on your shoulders. Okay, with all that said, though, these teams aren't really running plays. They're not running their best sets, their best things. They're working on the things they're not good at. That's what these joint sessions
It's
are.
like sparring.
I've had players and coaches tell me this verbatim. We work on more of the things that we're not running the best in practice than what we normally do. So with that said, yeah, there's a reason why Washington struggled yesterday, and Baltimore's offense struggled at times as well. Lamar had to run at times, and you don't want to see that. But that means what? Guys aren't getting open. The offensive line's not holding up. We saw that on both sides of the ball. So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we'll have our final segment right here and open up these phone lines and emails for more people. If you want to reach out to us, it's 804-327-0888. You're listening to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. Well, it's the final segment of today's show. We're rolling along here talking about the Washington Commanders, Baltimore Ravens, joint practice, some NFL chatter we had. And I mentioned to you guys, I want you guys to chime in. And I did get someone reach out to me, my guy John from Gaithersburg, Maryland. Appreciate you checking me out up that way. And he says, Alan, Lake, come on, man. Literally, this is what he says. Lake, come on, man. If they're bad, they're bad. It doesn't matter. I totally disagree with him. I totally disagree with him on that. And the reason why I say that is because you're a starter in the NFL for a reason. You're a starter in the NFL. You're one of one for a reason. Backups are backups for a reason. They're not normally good enough to be starters.
What was it? Scalabrini said that the gap between him and the guy at the Y is the same gap between him and LeBron. that's essentially what we're talking about here. Like the gap between the starter and the backup is typically it's
significant.
Yeah, it's something
man.
we can't fully comprehend. Like seriously, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Come on, man.
The next guy up after them. There's a huge gap. Man, and Antonio Williams, I love him to death. But Stephon Diggs and Terry.
He ain't Terry. That's it. And again, so I understand he's basically saying I'm making excuses. I'm not making excuses for anyone. I report. I don't get paid by any of these folks. I report. I mean, listen, my checks come from here. That's different.
Who's our guy? Good, bad?
Yeah, I mean, listen.
He's not, he's in the league. He's 1,000% better than any of us listening right now.
But should never be asked to be a starting center of all things.
He cannot do that at this level. He has shown he cannot do it at this level.
And we're not piling on. We're telling you actual facts. And I want to put some stuff in perspective because yesterday, Baltimore Ravens, this is what Matt Golban and Julian Good-Jones had to go up against in the interior of Baltimore's defense. Travis Jones, nose tackle, 6'4", 345.
Lightweight.
Okay, lightweight. Okay, all right. So wait a minute. That's your anchor in there. Okay. Then you had, when I saw this guy, man, when I saw CJ Okoye, oh my God,
he's huge.
Like when I tell you huge. 6'6", 370 pounds.
If you have Okoye in your name, whether it's first or last,
you already know.
Yeah.
Come on, man. The new Nigerian Nightmare 2.0. How about that? That's what his nickname should be. I just got that for you. Got to give me some royalties for that one.
Yeah, leave him alone,
bro. 6'6", 370 pounds. And when I tell you that guy was standing, when he came out the game and was standing with his teammates, it looked like he was standing on a hill.
Look, I'll tell you just off of what I saw when I was up there, the smallest person in that defensive box would have probably been Mike Green, and he's not small.
Mike Green's not little.
Yeah, he's not small.
I mean that's
what he knows Mike Green very well.
Yeah, very very well.
Yeah.
Senior Bowl very well.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that I'm supposed to walk away from Owings Mills yesterday and think what I kind of expected. Didn't we say that a week ago? We're going to find out a whole lot about. You can't use Miami as a barometer because Miami's going to be.
And again,
putrid.
another kind of idea of the gap of the talent on the Ravens. Mike Green led the nation in sacks. He's a backup.
He's a backup
in Baltimore,
fighting for time.
Oh yeah, on their he could be. I don't think he's going to be cut
him, but he's on the fringe.
He's not guaranteed a spot.
That's what I'm saying.
And he led the nation in sacks when he was in college, right?
That's what I'm saying. Man.
Like that's his talent level.
Yeah.
And on a team like Baltimore, he's fighting for a position in playing time. Like, dude, there's not a lot of people, especially on the Commander side. I'm not knocking them, that can say that they were that level or caliber of production and athlete, and they come to Washington and they don't, instantly make the roster or have a spot where it's secure. Like he's fighting for his position up there.
I saw John Jenkins doing some stuff out there, and I'm like, who the hell is this big monster? 6'3", 360. Like they're rolling trucks, literally trucks out on the field. And it showed yesterday. That's Baltimore's way. When I go back to 2012, when I covered them, I literally, brother, I can tell you, I had never seen anything like that size-wise. When they came out the locker room, you kind of feel a little way like, let me move out the way. I mean, these are big jokers.
Yeah, and I think they go for certain people to look a certain way because
they absolutely
because of their playing
style,
right?
Their blueprint.
They've had an identity since they've moved from Cleveland.
Yeah, since 2000, they've known how they wanted to be. They wanted to be the bully on the block.
We could talk about this team 10 years from now. You're going to have the same measurement. It's going to be the
same thing. Yeah. You know who they are? They're Baltimore to me is kind of like the Spurs.
Yeah, they got
a
type.
NBA. They have a type. They know they want to be physical. They want to be rugged. Although I don't know if Wemby fit that description in the playoffs.
He's definitely physical.
But Castle and Harper, yeah, they fit the description of a San Antonio Spur player. But Wemby, he's European, man. I mean, no offense if you're European, but they come a little different.
He's throwing bows and acting like a supervillain out there. I don't know. He's got some growing to do.
Act, man. Because Karl Anthony Towns took his heart.
That's more than what we've seen from San Antonio. We haven't seen some tough guys from there. Steven Jackson, maybe?
No, I didn't say Hart was taken out on Bruce the field Bowen? Yesterday because none of that would happen. Yeah, Bruce Bowen. I mean, remember guys. Bruce and Kobe and all those? Yeah, I mean, they were coming, man. Who was the other guy? Raja Bell.
Yeah.
He wasn't in San Antonio.
He was with Phoenix. He was with Phoenix. Yeah,
still a goon.
But man,
still a goon.
You don't want to go toe to toe with this team size wise.
No, you don't. And we saw that yesterday. So hopefully you had a good time today. This is what we do. We try to educate you on this show. Remember, we'll be coming back here on Tuesday of next week. Lots of stuff coming up. Big Trent Scott will be joining us real soon to start our show during the week from Commanders Park. So have a good evening, my friends. Be safe out there.